Hello folks, today we are going to talk about something called fringe properties. And I first learned about the fringe when I got into a business with a friend of mine. We started a business together and we were in the roofing industry. And what we did is we actually worked in areas that had been affected by hailstorms. These homes were hit so badly by the hailstorm that the insurance company would actually replace the roofs for these homeowners, and so we would pick up that business, and the only expense that the homeowner would have would be their deductible. And it's actually a booming industry. There's a lot of people that do this, and this was kind of my first um, exposure to what I call the fringe. And basically, what I mean by that is, and I'm using this business as an example because it just works so well. In a hailstorm, you'll have the heart of the storm cell, and you're going to see the heaviest damage right there in the heart. And then as you get further away from that, the heart of that storm cell, you'll see the hail get smaller, and you'll see smaller and smaller amounts of damage on these homes. And so my business partner told me that I should go to the fringe. I shouldn't go to the heart of the storm cell where every other Tom, Dick, and Harry were going to go to knock doors and try to get roof contracts. Instead, I should go to the fringe, places that are still hit with hail, places where the insurance companies will still pay to replace these homeowners' roofs, but I have no competition. And so that's what I did. It took me a second to find the fringe, the area where there was still good enough damage to get the insurance company to total these homeowners' roofs, and yet no or very little competition. And by doing that, I was able to write 3 times as many contracts as these other companies because I didn't have to filter through all of these homeowners. None of these homeowners were telling me, oh well, someone's already stopped by, someone's already told me about this. I'm already in contract with another roofing company. I was just able to bypass all of that, and so I just made 3 times the cash. And because I had more time, because I had more money, I was able to build a sales team. It didn't take me very long to get 10 sales guys working for me, and then we were really building a lot of cash. And so what I want to do is I want to take that same principle and I want to apply it to real estate investing. What you're doing when you invest in real estate, you want to get the highest amount of return for the lowest amount of money. In other words, you want to get the largest amount of cash flow per month that you can bring in for the lowest amount of upfront and yearly maintenance cost. And so what I've done is I developed a system for myself that I use on every property that I buy, and it works very well. And what I do is I find the fringe, the demographic fringe. So if you invest in a war zone neighborhood, then you're going to get a very low purchase price on your property. You won't have to spend a lot of money up front, but you're also going to get a very low amount in rental every single month. And your risk of burglary, your risk of vandalism, the risk of tenants that don't pay is going to be way up here. So that's too far. That's outside the storm cell, so to speak. On the other hand, what you would say would be the equivalent of the heart of the storm cell would be the high dollar neighborhoods. Everybody makes 6 figures, and of course everybody does pay their rent on time, but you have to pay such a high price for the property, and your insurance is so expensive, and your taxes are so expensive that you really have a very low rate of return. If you're bringing in 10% yearly return on your investment with these properties, then you're doing well, and that's just not what we're looking for. So what I do is I look for the areas, the houses that are in between these two demographics, where I expect to see a 40% yearly return on my investment. And when I say 40%, what I mean is after the purchase price, after the cost of repairs, after the rehab, and then after all of my monthly and yearly expenses are factored in, and all of those unexpected repairs that just tend to pop up, I'm still earning a 40% return on my initial investment every single year. That's what I do. So another way of saying it is I want to get my money back in 2.5 years. And then, of course, every 2.5 years it will double again. So that is a fringe property. How do you do that? How do you find those areas? Well, one of the things that you can do is you can ask yourself, are all of my investor buddies, and really just all of my friends in general, would they be uncomfortable about purchasing a property in this neighborhood? Okay, if they are, then it may be a fringe property or it may be a war zone property. Let's go to the war zone neighborhoods now. Do the people that live in war zone neighborhoods want to get out of that area? And is the area that they want to move to in this neighborhood that you're thinking about investing? If it is, then maybe it's a fringe property. What I usually do is I just look at the median rent for the area. And if you don't know how to do that, we have other posts where we talk about how to find what you can, a good guesstimate, a good way of figuring out how much you're going to get in rent for that property. So I take the median rent for the area, and then I just calculate what my purchase price for the property will be, and then of course my rehab expenses. I try to get it to about 50%. So I try to get it to where I see that I'm going to get my money back in 2 years on that property. And you have to of course factor in taxes and insurance and all those other things. And I do 2 years that way. If I don't do very well, then at least I still get it back in 2.5 years. I get that 40% rate return that I'm looking for. And that is basically how you invest in fringe properties. For more tips, tricks, and advice on real estate investing, please head over to youkouldbe.com. That's UKUDB.com.